What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, what I want to discuss is how we could potentially be seeing a wage increase coming very soon to many workers. I'm going to give you a little bit of an update on the stimulus news, give you an update on the timeline, what we are expecting as of right now. Want to talk about the testing shortage regarding COVID. New, and this is weird, but it's a new somewhat education system that one state is particularly going to be experimenting with. I want to address that and how multiple states could be enacting this piece of legislation very soon, and give you some daily news as well. First off, if you enjoy these daily uploads, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button because it really does help out the channel. Let's get into the update for today. First, let's talk about a potential wage increase. How is this coming and what is happening? Well, there was a report out, it came out last night, was really pushed today, but saying how Apple is actually going to be paying some of their employees, engineers, development team, right, programmers, they could potentially be paying them up to $180,000 in bonuses over about 4 years. And they're gonna do this in order to keep them away from Meta, or as many people know them, is Facebook. Now, the only reason why I bring this up is because this is a very telling sign as what is in store for the rest of us in the workforce. Now, if you work for an employee, what this means, and what the many moves we've seen over the past year or so, a lot of it's been very similar. And what's happening is, especially what just happened with Apple, is they're showing us that employees have more power than they have ever had before. So we now have the ability to negotiate our own wages. We could get more than we were actually given in the first place. And some employers are doing all they can to ensure that their specific employees, the ones that are very valuable, they are not going to go to their competition, which is why Apple is trying to retain their employees, Meta is trying to retain theirs, right? We got Google trying to, Alphabet trying to retain theirs, but they're all trying to fight for the best possible wage possible. Here's the thing. If you work in a place, anywhere in the United States, or any country really, and that business has competitors that are fairly close, like in Silicon Valley, where there's a bunch of different tech firms, right? Technology's huge. Well, if you live in a place that's local city, whatever, but you have local competition, competitors, use them against one of each other, and try to get them to give you the best wage and benefit package possible. It's not all about the money you make per hour. Sometimes the benefits that you get, more time off, more paid time off, and maybe you get bonuses. Maybe you have there's some type of stock program or whatever, right? Try to get this. Try to get investments, right? That's what you want. So if you are trying to get the best wage possible, understand it's wages plus benefits that makes the best package possible. All right? So go and do that. If you can, highly recommend it. I know I've talked to many people that have done it in the past, and they've had a lot of success by making sure that the competition was trying to get them, and by letting their boss know, hey, I got an offer over here, I'm considering it, but let's see what you got. So give that a try and see what happens. Let's talk about the Build Back Better Act. One of the questions I got today, is this going to pass? In my personal opinion, I think the Build Back Better, what will be left of it, will eventually pass. But what will be included? That's the thing that most people have even lawmakers, they don't know. Nobody knows what's going to be included in the Build Back Better Act once it finally does pass. But what we do know is it's not going to look anything like the Build Back Better Act that Senator Bernie Sanders proposed, that President Biden first came out with. It's going to look completely different. There will most likely be climate provisions within it. There's probably not going to be Medicare. There's a chance there could be. As far as paid leave, probably not. Senator Joe Manchin and many lawmakers, Republican included, they do support pre-K, but it comes down to who's paying for it. That's the big question mark. And so we'll see what happens. But as of right now, it's really up in the air what's included into this bill and when it finally does pass. Now, what I can tell you, expectations are this is going to pass most likely in February, but it could pass as soon as the end of January. Now, will all Senate Democrats be on board? Yes. The only way this passes is if every single one is on board, which means they have to have Senator Joe Manchin on board, which means the bill will be less than $1.75 trillion, or it will just be what Senator Joe Manchin wants. And that's probably not going to happen. But let's talk about education for a second. I want to bring this up because over the past few weeks, even right before the Christmas break, when kids were still in school, everyone right now is on their break, Christmas break, spending a little bit of a winter holiday. But many states were very worried about what would happen once kids go back to school with all these COVID cases that we're currently seeing. Well, some have actually questioned whether or not going back to school at this time is the right move or not. But according to many experts, they say it will be perfectly safe as long as people somewhat social distance, wear a mask, get vaccinated, they always put that in there, and then wash their hands. But that also contradicts what many experts are saying, that the masks that children wear, cloth masks, just aren't as effective. But then some say that they are just perfectly fine. It's just they do let out some of those vapors, right? Your particles, whatever. They let them out the sides of the mask. So if you are positive, you are infected, you could easily infect everybody else as well. And for most people, and let me just ask you this, okay? I'm just curious of this. How many people are actually washing their cloth masks after every single use? Let me know down in the comment section below. Do you wash your mask after every single use, or do you throw away your mask and get a new one every single time? I'm just curious. Let me know down in the comment section below. Because for me personally, I don't wear a cloth mask. I wear a surgical mask, and in most cases, I do reuse it. Okay, that's not because I don't have others. It's because I forget that we've been in this pandemic for so long that if I'm using a surgical mask, I kind of put it in my pocket, wherever, my jacket, and then when I'm going out to a store or whatever, a lot of times I will grab that again. Now, like I said earlier, a lot of times there's a lot of people put on an N95 mask and then a surgical mask or a cloth mask over it if I have one. But in many cases, I don't have to do that. So just to let you know, sometimes I do reuse my mask. And again, I know we shouldn't, but I do. But here's what I want to bring up. Yesterday, Governor Whitmer out of Michigan, she signed legislation to allow school staff to be able to sub in and teach a class. Not licensed educators, but this move by her was done to prevent schools from being without teachers as COVID cases surge and likely will cause licensed teachers to stay home because of positive cases, or in some cases, a close contact, then they become symptomatic. So here's the reason why I thought this was very interesting. This is something that other states have yet to enact. Could they? Yes. We still have time. But here's the key. Over the next few days, according to reports, there's supposed to be some more guidance out as to how schools should continue for the next month or so. Because we do know that young children, they are seeing a rise in hospitalizations. We also saw reports today that said the way that the CDC conducts, or the way that hospitalizations and deaths are actually counted, mainly with deaths. If somebody has COVID, they're tested positive for COVID, at the time of their death, they're counted as a COVID death. Even if the underlying condition, let's say, was a heart attack, okay? And we saw this last year as well. We saw this in the beginning of the pandemic when somebody came in, they tested positive for COVID, but they got in a motorcycle accident. They were counted as a COVID death. That really screws up the count. That really screws things up. Because how many COVID deaths are we actually seeing? It's just like if somebody had the flu, got in a motorcycle accident. Did they die because of the flu? No. They died because they had an accident. That's a big issue. And that's something that we need to get fixed and we need to get addressed, because as of right now, it's screwing up all of our numbers. But here's what I just want to say. I would not be shocked, and if you guys are shocked, don't be. Okay, don't be shocked if some school districts come out and decide to move to remote learning just until these COVID cases die down. Okay, just until, maybe die down isn't a great wording to use, but until COVID cases somewhat subside. They're very high right now. My expectation is we're going to be way up over 500,000 cases at the end of today. So we'll see tomorrow morning, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you aren't yet subscribed, make sure you go click that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any more updates. But here's what I can tell you regarding the COVID news. The CDC has now revised their previous estimates that were at 92% of all COVID cases were Omicron. They are now saying that we're at 59% of COVID cases are Omicron, which is still quite a bit, but it is a big drop from where we were expected to be. We also know, and this is big news as of today, that President Biden is being hammered. He's completely being hammered right now because we do not have enough COVID tests. For the amount of people that we are testing, right? If we had 540 some 1,000 positive cases yesterday alone, guess what? It's expected to be more today. I drove down the street. I went to go get new tires for a car, and I'm coming back home and I see one of the testing centers in the city. It was just packed. There was police lining the street because people had to figure out a way to get in there. It was just ridiculous. But that's one of the things we're seeing is the tests are up. COVID cases are up, means testing is up. But here's the other issue. And this is something that was pointed out a couple days ago, was as we run more tests, the labs become overwhelmed. And if people have to wait more than 24 hours to get their COVID test results back, guess what? Many are going to go back to work because what a lot of people are saying is, oh, you have symptoms? Okay, but we are going to call you, or we're going to provide our results through this online portal. But if you don't hear from us, you're probably negative. That's what we hear all the time. Guess what? If it takes 48 hours to get your test results back and somebody doesn't hear back and that they are positive, guess what they do? They go to work. They go to school. And guess what? It infects other people. So right now, a lot of issues, but President Biden is being completely hammered because he said we would have enough tests. We would have enough vaccines. We have vaccines, but not enough people that want them. We need people, or we have people that want to get the test, but we don't have enough tests. A lot of issues, but as soon as I know more, I promise I'll come back on, share all the latest news and updates. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.